This video is going to look at finding the area of composite figures. And remember, composite means made up of more than one thing. So in this case, we're going to be talking about shapes that are made up, or figures that are made up of more than one shape. It might be two rectangles put together. It might be a rectangle and a square. And so today we're going to look at how we would find the area of a shape when there's more than one shape making up that space. So this one right on this first example looks like we have two rectangles put together. I'll highlight those in red so we can see them. So here's the first rectangle, and we'll do the next one in blue. And there's the second one. So this shape, or this figure, is made up of two rectangles. So let's start by finding the area of the red rectangle. Now remember, when we're finding area, we are taking a unit square, okay, like this one right here. And because our units are feet, this square unit would be 1 foot on this side, 1 foot measure on this side, 1 foot on this side, and 1 foot on this side. So we would call that a square foot. And then we are going to look to see how many of those square feet, those squares that have a 1 foot measure on each side, how many of those squares would it take to cover, the space inside of this rectangle. Okay, so I'm not going to literally draw all of those square units, but just to remind you what area is. Okay, so the quick way of finding area is remembering that length times width equals area. So the length of this rectangle is 12 feet, and the width of this rectangle is 4 feet. So that's pretty easy. We know that the area then is 48 square feet for this rectangle. So 48 feet squared. Now let's find the area of the blue rectangle. Okay, so the first thing I can see is I have a side measure over here of 6 feet. That's given to me. And so let's look at this. If I move this over, it's the same length as this side of this rectangle. So I know that this side length is going to be 6 feet, and this side length is missing. But I do know that this side is 12 feet, and I know that opposite sides of rectangles are equal in measure. So that means, let me grab a red line here. If I were to take this side, try that one more time. If I were to take this side and bring it down, that side is also 12 feet. So I have 3 measures. I have 5 feet plus 6 feet. I know that's 11 feet. So I only need 1 more foot to make that side length equal 12 feet. So that missing side length is 1 foot. So now I can find the area because I have the length and the width. So I can figure out the area. The length in this case, we can say is 6 feet. And the width is 1 foot. So the area would be 6 square feet. So now the last step is to add those two areas together. So I need to add 48 plus 6, and that will give me the total area for this composite figure. So 8 plus 6 is 14. 4 plus 1 is 5. So the area of this shape total would be 54 square feet. Let's look at another one. All right, this shape looks like it is made up also of two rectangles. There's one in red, and here's one in blue. Okay, we could divide it that way. Some of you might have seen it, or some of you might have said, oh wait, well here's a rectangle too. This big long one down here, and then a shorter one up here. you can divide these composite figures however you want. So let's do it this way since it's already up here. Let's start then by finding the area of this top red rectangle. And it looks pretty easy because it gives me the length and the width. So we know length times width equals area. And so the length is 7, the width is 9. 7 times 9 is 63. So I know the area of that top red rectangle would be 63 meters squared. And now I need to find the area of this bottom blue one. Okay, so let's look to see what we know. All right, so we need to find the length, and I know part of the length is 8 meters. This is the missing part down here, but I do see that if I were to take this side length up here, I'm going to highlight it in red, the 7 meters, and slide it down, that would perfectly complete that side. And so that missing side length down there is going to be 7 meters. So now I know that full side length, that the full length of that side would be 8 plus 7, which is 15 meters. And now I need to find the width. And so let's see here. I know this full side length, I'm going to highlight it in yellow. This full side length is 14, but if I could take away part of that, if I could take away that 9, cover that up with the green, then that would give me the side length that I'm looking for down here. So 14 minus 9 would give me 5. And so that missing side length down here would be 5 meters. And so now I know the length, I know the width, so I can find the area. So the length of this side length that we found was 15, and the width was 5. So if we take 15 times 5, that would be 75. And so the area of this blue rectangle is 75 meters squared. Now, we're not done because we have the red rectangle's area, this space in here, and the blue rectangle's area. In order to find the composite figures area, we need to add those two together, right? Those spaces together. So 63 plus 75. My thinking's not very organized. I'm over here if you are lost. 3 plus 5 is 8. 7 plus 6 is 13. So the area of this composite figure would be 138 meters squared. So this is just a reminder of the steps that you'll want to take when you're trying to find the area of a composite figure. The first thing you're going to want to do is try to see what shapes the composite figure is made up of. So here I can see here's one rectangle, here's another rectangle, and then you want to remember that length times width equals area. So you're going to need to find the area of both of the shapes. In this case, they're both rectangles. So you need to find the length, you need to find the width, multiply those together to get the area. Go to the next shape.